In this episode, we're going to take a look at the requirements for people to be candidates at a national and a state level. So let's start out with the qualifications you need to run for federal office. If you want to be president or vice president someday, you have to be at least 35 years old, 14 years a U.S. resident. That means that you have to have been here in the U.S. 14 consecutive years, and you have to be a natural-born citizen. Now, there's two ways we determine natural-born citizenship that you should remember from the beginning of the year. The law of blood. If either of your parents are citizens, then by blood, no matter where you are born, you are a natural-born citizen as well. And then we have the law of soil, which is even if your parents are not American citizens, if you're born here on American soil, you are considered a natural-born citizen. Now, if you want to run for the House of Representatives, you have to be at least 25 years old. You have to have been a U.S. citizen for 7 years, so you can be naturalized. And you have to live in the state that you're representing. So if you want to represent Florida, you have to live here in Florida. Likewise, with the Senate, you have to be at least 30 years old and be in the United States for at least 9 years. That state requirement for living in that state also is in full effect if you want to run for Senate. Next up, let's talk about our state officers. The governor and the lieutenant governor here in the state of Florida, you have to be 30 years old and you have to have been a Florida resident for at least 7 years. Now, it's a little different compared to the national level. Here, our governor is limited to 2 4-year terms. So just like the president, 2 terms, which was established with the 22nd Amendment, our governor, though, those term limits are actually in the Florida Constitution. They're in Article 4, Section 5. So they were put into effect before the term limits on the actual president was. If the governor dies, passes away, then the lieutenant governor is going to be taking over just like a vice president would at the national level. Now, if you want to be a state representative, you have to be at least 21 years old and have been a Florida resident for 2 years. We also have term limits placed on our state representatives, and they were added back in 1992. So both for the Florida House and for the Florida Senate, you can have no more than 8 years or 4 terms total in the Florida House. With a state senator, again, you have to be 21 years old, at least 2 years a Florida resident, and those same term limits apply. Now, we do a lot of things to evaluate how good a candidate is. How are you going to judge and determine who you want to vote for? The public evaluates these candidates on several different aspects. We look at experience. We look at their platform. What is it that they believe in and are promising? We look at their performance in political debates. And of course, we're bombarded left, right, and center with political advertisements. Those are all ways that we get to evaluate the candidate and see what it is they represent. Now, the public learns about the candidates in numerous ways. The media, of course, is the biggest one, but interest groups and political parties, and of course the candidates themselves also chime in. Now, when it comes to the media, it is the primary source of where we get our information on a candidate. As you well know, media broadcast the debates. They interview candidates. They interview members of political parties. And those messages are sent out to the public. Political parties also give information to voters about their platform, their issues, their positions on the issues. They do a lot of praising for their own candidates. A lot of times you'll see members of the same party speaking out on behalf of their candidate. And likewise, they're going to try to discredit and shoot down the opposing party's candidate. Interest groups, we've talked about in the past as well. Interest groups are lobbying groups, groups that are trying to push forward an agenda on a specific topic. So like the NRA is focused on gun rights. Greenpeace would be focused on the environment. Those are examples of interest groups. And they too will speak out about a candidate, whether they agree with their position or they oppose their positions. Now, if a candidate is an incumbent and seeking re-elections, these interest groups will look at their voting record and focus on that. Did they vote in favor of the environment? Did they vote in favor of gun rights? Those sort of things are focused on by interest groups. And then, of course, lastly, we have the candidate themselves. They're going to use the media to try to get their message out via commercials, but you'll also get mailings in the mail. They go from place to place and hold rallies and go to little restaurants to meet with the people they're trying to convince to vote for them. So these are all different ways that we get to know and get to evaluate our candidates. Okay, that's it for this time.